What if I told you that one of the biggest threats to our health after 60 isn't hidden in a pill bottle, isn't written in a medical chart, but is quietly growing in our very own living rooms? Imagine hours slipping by while we sit in the same chair, the television humming, our legs unmoving, our heart slowing down. It feels harmless, even comforting. Yet behind that comfort, something dangerous is at work. Muscles weaken when they are not used, bones lose their strength, and the very systems that keep us alive begin to fade. Many older adults underestimate this silent force. They think, "I've earned my rest. Exercise is for the young." But the truth is that this very mindset may be shortening the time we have left to enjoy life fully. Wisdom Beyond 60, dear everyone, let me welcome you here. We need to talk honestly about what happens when the body stops moving. You see, our bodies were never designed for stillness. They are built for walking, stretching, breathing deeply, and staying in motion. When we give in to laziness, when we allow our days to pass without even the smallest act of movement, we open the door to decline far sooner than necessary. This isn't about becoming an athlete or running marathons. This is about independence, dignity, and the ability to keep living life on your own terms. Think about this. Every step you don't take is a step closer to relying on someone else. Every day you choose stillness is a day that steals strength from tomorrow. That is the uncomfortable truth, yet it's a truth that can set us free because the choice is still ours. I want you to ask yourself, if staying in that chair today makes tomorrow harder, is it really worth it? We live in a society that praises rest in old age, but rest is not the same as neglect. Rest restores when it follows effort. Rest destroys when it replaces action. And the danger is that this destruction is invisible at first. Weeks of skipping exercise feel fine. Months later, we begin to notice stiffness, shortness of breath, fatigue. By the time years pass, the price of those choices can no longer be hidden. The tragedy is that so many realize it only after their bodies no longer cooperate. But here's the part that should give you hope. It doesn't have to be this way. The body is incredibly responsive, even in later years. A simple walk can wake up the heart. Gentle stretches can bring life back into the joints. Breathing exercises can calm the nervous system. The most powerful medicine is not outside of you. It is movement, right here, waiting for you to begin. No doctor can hand it to you. No bottle can replace it. It starts with you, and it can start right now. This is why throughout this video, we will dig deeper into why inactivity becomes a silent enemy, and more importantly, how you can overcome the tendency to avoid exercise. You will see that small changes can protect your independence, sharpen your mind, and help you enjoy life longer and with more joy. If what I've said so far makes you pause, if it stirs something in your heart, then I ask you to stay with me, because the next few minutes might be the wake-up call you've been needing. And before we go further, let me kindly ask you, please subscribe to this channel. Your support gives us the motivation to create more videos that help our community stay strong, wise, and independent after 60. Now, let me leave you with a question to think about, and I want you to answer it in the comments. If you had to choose, which would matter more to you right now? A, having the comfort of rest today, even if it means weakness tomorrow. B, choosing small movement today, even if it feels a little hard, to gain freedom tomorrow. Type your answer, A or B, in the comments below. Your choice might inspire someone else who is listening right now. When we look closely at what happens inside the body after long stretches of inactivity, the reality is sobering. Muscles, once strong enough to carry groceries or climb stairs, slowly begin to waste away when they are not asked to work. This process, called muscle loss, is not sudden. It creeps in quietly. At first, you may only notice that standing up from a chair takes a little longer, or carrying a basket feels heavier than before. But over time, this loss of muscle strength can mean the difference between walking confidently and needing help with the simplest tasks. Along with weakened muscles comes a decline in bone strength. Without regular movement and weight-bearing activities, bones become more fragile, leaving older adults vulnerable to fractures from even a small fall. Independence can vanish in an instant when a broken hip or a fractured wrist forces someone to rely on others for daily care. But the risks are not only in the muscles and bones. The heart, too, suffers in silence. Our circulatory system thrives on movement, the pumping of blood, the rhythm of breathing, the demand of muscles calling for oxygen. When activity decreases, the heart grows weaker, blood vessels stiffen, and blood pressure becomes less stable. Suddenly, the very system that fuels life becomes more vulnerable. For many older adults, this leads to an increased likelihood of serious events like strokes or heart complications that can change life dramatically. What is alarming is that these changes often take root quietly, unnoticed, until a major health scare brings them into focus. And let us not forget the role of movement in managing body weight and metabolism. Without exercise, the body becomes less efficient at using the energy from food. Glucose lingers in the bloodstream, fat gathers around the waistline, and cholesterol levels rise. It may seem harmless to sit through the day, but beneath that stillness, the body is struggling to maintain balance. Over time, this imbalance can leave people more prone to fatigue, slower healing, and an overall sense of heaviness that makes daily life harder to enjoy. For many, this becomes a vicious cycle. Less movement leads to more fatigue, and more fatigue leads to even less movement. The brain, too, is deeply tied to the way we move. Physical activity is not just about muscles, it is about the mind. Each step, each stretch, each breath of deeper oxygen fuels the brain with blood and nutrients it desperately needs. Without this steady supply, memory begins to falter, focus becomes harder, and the sharpness of thought dulls. It is not unusual for older adults who stop moving regularly to notice that their mental clarity declines more quickly. Scientific studies have shown that active people tend to keep their minds brighter for longer, while inactivity speeds the opposite direction. It is a sobering truth, but also a powerful motivation to stay active. Even the immune system feels the weight of inactivity. Movement stimulates circulation, helping immune cells travel efficiently throughout the body. Without it, defenses weaken, leaving people more vulnerable to common illnesses that linger longer than they should. Instead of waking up with energy, older adults often find themselves tired, sluggish, or unable to fight off even mild infections as easily. Over time, this takes away not just health but confidence in daily life. The cost of inactivity is not only physical, it is emotional. Imagine the frustration of not being able to walk to the park with your grandchildren, or the sadness of watching others enjoy activities you can no longer join. This loss of freedom often weighs heavier on the spirit than on the body itself. And yet what is most striking is that much of this decline is preventable. It is not about extraordinary effort. It is about refusing to surrender to stillness. When you put all of these consequences together, the weakening muscles, the fragile bones, the vulnerable heart, the imbalanced metabolism, the fading mind, and the fragile immune system, you see a pattern that is hard to ignore. Inactivity robs us quietly, piece by piece, until one day we look back and wonder how we became so limited. This is why it is so important to pay attention now, not later. The dangers of laziness in older age are not distant possibilities. They are present realities that grow stronger with each day spent sitting still. Yet by recognizing them, by naming them, we take the first step toward changing them. Why do so many older adults drift into inactivity, even when they know the risks? The answer is rarely simple, and it is not just about laziness. For many, the body itself has become a barrier. Years of wear on the joints bring stiffness and discomfort, and the very thought of exercise feels painful before it even begins. Each step may come with a reminder of age, and it is easy to mistake that discomfort as a reason to stop, rather than as a sign that gentle movement is needed more than ever. The irony is that the pain of stiff joints often worsens the longer we avoid activity, yet it convinces many to sit still. Another reason is deeply rooted in psychology. After a lifetime of working hard, raising families, or carrying responsibilities, retirement often feels like permission to slow down completely. The belief takes hold that activity is for the young and that later years are meant only for rest. This mindset can be comforting at first, but it quietly chips away at strength and vitality. Cultural expectations add to this. Society sometimes paints a picture of old age as a time of decline, a stage where slowing down is expected and even applauded. With such subtle messages all around, it is not surprising that many seniors begin to accept stillness as their new normal. There is also the matter of habit. When someone spends years in a routine of sitting, whether it is long hours watching television, reading, or simply resting indoors, the body adapts to that pattern. The less you do, the less you feel capable of doing. Energy fades not because age demands it, but because the body has been trained to expect less of itself. This creates a cycle that is difficult to break. Inactivity leads to fatigue, fatigue leads to more inactivity, and gradually the idea of exercise feels nearly impossible. A hidden factor that keeps many seniors inactive is the absence of companionship. Exercise can be lonely when done alone, and loneliness itself can drain motivation. When there is no friend to walk with, no partner to encourage, and no group to join, the desire to move fades quickly. Humans are social beings, and movement has always been tied to connection, whether it is walking together, gardening with neighbors, or joining a community class. Without that sense of belonging, many simply give up. And perhaps the most powerful reason of all is fear. Fear of falling, fear of looking weak, fear of pushing too hard. This fear keeps people glued to their chairs, convinced that moving less will keep them safe. But what feels like protection often becomes the very trap that accelerates decline. Safety does not come from stillness. It comes from building enough strength and confidence to keep moving steadily. When we put all these reasons together, the physical discomfort, the psychological belief that rest is enough, the habits of stillness, the absence of community, and the fear of getting hurt, we begin to understand why so many seniors retreat from activity. These are not excuses. They are deeply human experiences that deserve compassion. Yet recognizing them clearly is the first step to overcoming them. What may look from the outside like laziness is often a mixture of pain, belief, and habit. Once we see that, we can begin to imagine solutions. This understanding is not meant to place blame, but to shine light on the hidden forces at work. Because when we can see clearly why the pattern exists, we can begin to take it apart piece by piece. And that is where the path forward begins, not with guilt, but with awareness. In the next part, we will explore how these very barriers can be addressed with small, practical steps that make movement feel possible again, even joyful, no matter what age you are. The encouraging truth is that breaking free from inactivity does not require grand gestures or impossible routines. It begins with the smallest steps, taken consistently until they become part of daily life. For many older adults, the word exercise itself feels heavy, as though it means hours in a gym or exhausting workouts. But in reality, movement in later life is about gentleness, consistency, and finding joy in activity rather than punishment. The first solution is to start small. A 10-minute walk around the block, a few stretches upon waking, or simply standing up and sitting down from a chair several times can awaken muscles that have been dormant. These tiny acts of motion remind the body of its purpose and begin to rebuild strength gradually. Over time, those 10 minutes become 20, and those few stretches become a daily habit that anchors health. Equally important is weaving movement into the natural flow of daily living. The truth is that many people give up on exercise because it feels like a chore set apart from life. But when you attach activity to things you already do, walking while talking on the phone, carrying groceries with intention, or standing to water plants, you transform ordinary tasks into powerful moments of physical renewal. Each small adjustment adds up, and before long, you realize that you are moving more than you thought possible. This approach eliminates the intimidation factor and proves that exercise is not something separate. It is life itself expressed through motion. Community and companionship are powerful motivators. Movement becomes lighter and more enjoyable when shared. For some, that means joining a local class for seniors, where laughter and encouragement flow as freely as the exercise itself. For others, it may be as simple as walking with a spouse, a friend, or even a grandchild. Companionship turns activity into connection, and that sense of belonging often matters as much as the physical benefit. When you know someone is expecting you for a walk or a class, it becomes harder to skip. What once felt like obligation turns into a moment of joy and social warmth. Finding activities that align with personal enjoyment is another key. If you love music, try gentle dance or rhythm-based movement. If you enjoy nature, go for short hikes or garden with purpose. If balance and mindfulness appeal to you, explore yoga or tai chi, which blend breath and motion into calming yet strengthening practices. The secret is not to force yourself into a routine you dread, but to discover the movements that bring genuine satisfaction. Enjoyment fuels consistency, and consistency is what brings long-term benefit. Finally, motivation deepens when tied to something greater than the activity itself. Moving your body is not just about today's energy, it is about tomorrow's freedom. It is about being able to rise from a chair, unassisted, walk into a room confidently, or embrace a loved one without hesitation. Every small act of exercise becomes an investment in independence, dignity, and joy. Remind yourself that you are not just moving for the sake of movement, you are moving for the life you want to keep living. That vision of freedom is often the most powerful motivator of all. These strategies, starting small, integrating activity into daily life, seeking companionship, choosing enjoyable movements, and focusing on independence, combine to form a path forward that feels realistic and uplifting. They turn the idea of exercise from something overwhelming into something accessible. The most profound truth is this: it is never too late to begin. Every step, no matter how small, is a step away from decline and a step toward strength, confidence, and vitality. And as you begin to embrace this mindset, you'll find that movement is not a burden. It is a gift waiting to be opened every single day. There is one truth that often gets overlooked when we speak about movement in later years. Exercise is not only about preventing decline, it is about opening the door to a fuller, more vibrant life. Too many people see activity as a chore or a duty, something they should do because the doctor recommends it. But the deeper reality is that consistent movement enriches life in ways that reach far beyond physical health. It shapes mood, lifts energy, sharpens memory, and even deepens the sense of connection to others. Inactivity may drain the body slowly, but activity restores life to the spirit as much as to the muscles. Think for a moment about sleep, one of the most overlooked treasures of aging. When the body is active, the mind rests better. Gentle walks, stretching, or light evening routines help the body release tension and prepare for restorative rest. Without movement, sleep becomes fragmented, shallow, and restless. Those nights of poor rest accumulate into days of fatigue and irritability. But with regular activity, many older adults notice that they fall asleep more easily, stay asleep longer, and wake up with a clearer mind. That gift of rest is not minor. It touches every corner of life, from mood to memory. Movement also has a remarkable impact on mental health. Studies show that physical activity stimulates the release of chemicals in the brain that foster calmness, reduce feelings of anxiety, and create a sense of well-being. For older adults, this means more than just happiness. It means resilience. With exercise, daily worries feel lighter, setbacks feel less overwhelming, and joy feels more accessible. In a world where loneliness and isolation weigh heavily, the power of exercise to lift the spirit cannot be underestimated. It reminds us that the mind and body are not separate, but intimately linked. There is also a profound sense of confidence that comes from knowing your body can still carry you where you want to go. When you can walk without hesitation, rise from a chair without help, or bend to pick up something from the floor, you reclaim a sense of freedom. That independence is priceless. It means being able to attend family gatherings, play with grandchildren, or enjoy a stroll in the park without fear of falling behind. Independence is not given. It is earned daily through the choice to move. And every step, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that you are still in control of your own life. Another layer of benefit comes from the way movement fosters social connection. Many seniors who commit to regular activity find themselves part of a community, walking groups, yoga classes, or even informal morning gatherings at the local park. These interactions bring conversation, laughter, and a sense of belonging that is as nourishing as the exercise itself. When the body moves, the heart opens and relationships deepen. For many, this connection becomes the true reward, transforming exercise from a solitary task into a shared celebration of life. Perhaps most important, movement nurtures hope. Every stretch, every step, every breath taken during exercise is a reminder that life still holds possibility. Even if age has brought challenges, even if the body carries scars of time, the act of choosing to move is a declaration that life is still worth engaging in fully. Movement says, I am here, I am alive, and I choose to live with energy rather than surrender to stillness. So, when we think of exercise in later life, we must stop seeing it as a burden. It is not about counting minutes or measuring miles. It is about embracing the countless ways it enriches every part of living. From sleep to mood, from independence to relationships, from confidence to hope, the impact is far deeper than we often realize. And while the earlier sections spoke of risks and consequences, this is the other side of the story. Movement is not merely about avoiding illness. It is about claiming the joy and dignity that every person deserves. And as we move forward, we will look even closer at the practical ways to bring these benefits into daily life so that they are not just ideas, but realities you can feel and experience. As we bring all of this together, the message becomes clear. Life after 60 is not about surrendering to time, but about choosing how we live each day. The years behind you carry memories, wisdom, and experience, but the years ahead can still carry strength, joy, and freedom if you are willing to care for your body and spirit. Inactivity is a quiet thief, taking away energy little by little, but movement is a gentle gift that gives back more than it asks. Each step, each stretch, each moment you choose to move is an act of self-respect and love for the life you still want to live. Think about the small victories that matter most. Being able to get out of bed without struggle, enjoying a walk with a neighbor, standing long enough to cook your favorite meal, laughing and playing with grandchildren without running out of breath. These moments are the true treasures of later life, and they are all fueled by the decision to stay active. The body may not respond the way it did at 20 or 30, but it still responds, and it still rewards you when you nurture it with consistent movement. What matters is not perfection, but persistence. A short walk, a set of gentle stretches, or even dancing slowly to your favorite song in the living room can make all the difference when practiced regularly. The deeper lesson here is that aging is not just about surviving, it is about living well. Activity gives you independence, and independence gives you dignity. It keeps you connected to yourself, to your loved ones, and to the world around you. The habit of moving daily is more than exercise. It is a way of telling yourself that you still belong fully in the story of your own life. When you decide to keep moving, you are not only protecting your health, you are nurturing your confidence and your joy. For those of you watching, here is the practical takeaway. Do not wait for the perfect plan, the perfect time, or the perfect condition to begin. Start with what you can do right now. Walk around your home, lift your arms and breathe deeply, or take a few steps outside and enjoy the air. Make it simple and repeatable. Over time, these small efforts will add up and create big changes in how you feel every day. And remember, it is never too late to begin. Every choice you make now can brighten tomorrow. Before we close, I want to ask you something. If you had to choose one, would you rather spend your later years depending on others for basic tasks, or living with enough strength to keep your independence a little longer? Please share your answer in the comments. Your perspective might inspire someone else today. And if this message has touched you, if you find meaning or encouragement here, we kindly ask you to support us. If you feel this video was valuable, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with your thoughts and share it with your friends or family so more people can benefit from these reminders. At Beyond 60 Wisdom, we are honored to walk this journey with you each day. Your voices, your support, and your stories give us the energy to keep creating more content filled with care and inspiration. Thank you deeply from the heart for being here. We look forward to growing stronger together, one step at a time.